Welcome to Horror Makes Us Happy, the podcast where we ask the question, what is it about horror that makes us happy? Your hosts are Steve Becker and myself, Chris Whitman, and you can find out more about us at our website, horrormakesushappy.com. Before we get started, a little information for you and listeners. These are your trigger warnings. We're going to be talking about some dark stuff like horror movies, horror culture, which could involve anything from murder, rape, suicide, child abuse, and all kinds of wonderful curse words. So if that's not something you feel like listening to, go ahead and check something else that's boring out. But if that's your thing, welcome and listen to us talk about all kinds of fucked up shit with our wonderful guest today, Ashley Crewl, special effects makeup and director, best known for the Seething Hollow and Evil Spawn sequel to, what was it again?
Camp Hideaway Massacre.
Camp Hideaway Massacre. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that one out. Welcome, Ashley. Great to have you.
Hello. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good, very good.
Good.
Is there anything you want to pitch before we get into the meat of the interview?
Oh, I just want to let you guys know this is my first time here, and I am also a first-time director for upcoming all-female directed anthology, FUKT, Extreme Horror. So there's going to be some nasty shit on there, and I'm excited for it.
I am excited to see it.
Good, you should be.
And that's FUKT, not FUCT, like the skate brand.
Exactly. FUKT.
Yes. Remember FUKT, the skate brand? They had all those cool things. Like there was a ape from Planet of the Apes that was holding a bong.
I can't tell.
I remember FUKT. I don't remember that.
They had all sorts of weird logos. It was fun back in those days. Anyway, that's not what this show is about.
In this interview, we'll be asking 3 sets of questions covering your childhood, teenage years, and adulthood to find out what it is about horror that you like, sort of a psychological profile.
Oh, we're going down that path, huh? Okay.
But yeah, it's not meant to be a therapy session. So if there's any questions that you don't want to answer, you just say, we'll pass and move on.
Of course.
So starting with childhood, what are some of your earliest memories of scary things?
Well, I can tell you I was allowed to pretty much watch anything growing up. Nice. I wasn't a really good sleeper at night. I can tell you as young as maybe 3 years old, I was already watching sci-fi until 4 a.m. So I had this little tiny black and white TV in my bedroom, and Sci-Fi Channel back then, before they changed the spelling and whatnot, it was pretty badass. They'd had Creep Show and everything on there. Good stuff to watch. Pumpkinhead. I think the first ever horror movie I did watch was Child's Play.
Nice.
And that stuck with me, and not because I was scared of it, because I loved it. Like, I was just infatuated. And I'm telling you right now, I think from then I loved special effects. The gorier, the better. It's more fun.
Out of curiosity, what was it that you liked so much about Child's Play? Like, for me, I saw it later on in life, but my favorite thing was just the animatronics with Chucky, especially when he was burnt near the end. Yeah. And I don't know, was that animatronics or it was a little person?
No, it was real.
It was a real guy. It was a real guy. Yeah, it was like animatronics. I mean, that's whenever they use like real stuff. They don't do that anymore.
Not CGI. I mean, I think it was a mix of animatronics and a little person in an outfit or something.
Yeah,
like
it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whenever the parts where he's like going behind the couch and stuff, that's a little person, and like running through the room, that's a little person. But yeah.
Animatronics weren't that good back then.
but still, they're better than the shit they come out with today.
Yeah, we will not speak of the reboot.
You know what? I'm not even going to watch it. But I'll tell you what I really liked about it, though. I mean, being that young, obviously, I had all kinds of crazy toys. The stupid Big Bird that you put a cassette in and it talked. It freaked me out. But Chucky was cool, and I wanted Chucky to come kill this Big Bird. Take care of this.
That is fucking hilarious. Like, the thing that scared you is the creepy ass thing that's supposed to be a child's, good friend.
Sure, no,
and the thing that you thought was going to come rescue you from that was the murdering psychopath possessed doll.
Yeah, come get rid of this thing for me. We'll worry about what happens after.
You're right. At that age, you don't think about what happens after. It's just
right. I just like want this Big Bird gone, but whatever.
Right.
But yeah, and then I got really into like zombie movies and stuff. George Romero. I mean, I live in Pittsburgh, so
Okay.
Night of the Living Dead. I watched the original first, actually, as a kid. I'm only 32, so I don't know how old you guys are. You're probably a lot older. Oh, younger than me. Older, younger, same.
Just turned 40.
A little older.
Okay.
Little older.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I just started really young. I just loved horror all growing up.
Yeah.
Collected.
You mentioned Pumpkinhead. How old were you when you saw that first?
Oh my gosh, I love Pumpkinhead. I'm such an underrated monster. But I was probably, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6. I don't know. I was really
That's
young. He's
fantastic.
probably seriously my favorite looking monster. Like he's just so cool looking.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
I wish
obsessed
they
with
expanded.
pumpkins.
They didn't really have a lot of pumpkins in that movie, though. It was just
No, but he's Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
You know?
So you mentioned loving Child's Play. Other than the animatronics, what else did you love about it?
Back then, like it was just such a. I think it was just so. I mean, you see like another kid, basically your age, going through something with like these evil toys. Like I just kind of like connected with it as a kid. I don't know. Like nowadays, it's just more nostalgia, you know. But I definitely I'm sorry, I can't watch the remake. I'm afraid to watch that, and not because I'm scared, because I just I don't want to be disappointed when I already know I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, no, you have a very good point there, because that's kind of another thing that a lot of people didn't find, I don't know, correct or good about the remake is the kids like 14, 15. Where in the original one, Andy is a child, so
it's more scary when you're a child too, because people don't listen to you and they think everything's in your head, and I mean we've all been there. So when we were kids,
imaginary friend type thing.
Yeah, so I mean you can connect with that movie when you're that young. You know what I mean?
Definitely. What about Pumpkinhead? Just the neat design.
Oh, yeah. I fell in love with that when I first saw it. I just thought he was so amazing looking. And I really love Lance Hendrickson's acting.
Oh, God. He's the best.
He is awesome. So, I mean, he really made that.
Did you really connect with his acting at 3 and 4 years old?
No, I just thought he was so good. Like, he was just cool. Like, he just...
Maybe subconsciously.
Made it really believable, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah. And it's just... Now when I see Lance Hendrickson in something because of Pumpkinhead, I get excited. Like,
I think I can probably make the same exact statement. I don't know if I was that young, but I was maybe like 8 or 9 when I saw Pumpkinhead, which is still pretty young to see a movie like that. But same thing. I was just infatuated with the special effects of it and Lance Henriksen. And the same thing. Yeah. Even in Aliens, or he was in a recent The Thing-esque movie, Harbinger Down. And every time I see him, I'm like, you're that old crazy guy from Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, right. And then he did that Millennium. He was in that show. I don't know if you guys ever checked that out. It's kind of like off of X-Files. Yeah,
I didn't, and I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, he's the main character. Yeah, so it's a pretty good show. If you like X-Files, it's very similar and actually comes from X-Files. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. At that age, you were probably not even going to school yet. So, I guess if we were to broaden the range a little bit to that early childhood into like grade school, did you have other friends or family who were also fans of horror at that time that you knew about?
So not so much. Like my parents, they would watch Tales from the Crypt with me all the time. I loved watching that. But friends wise, a lot of other kids weren't really allowed to watch stuff like that. I mean, even my cousin, when she would come over and my mom would watch her, she'd have to lie and say, she didn't watch this and didn't watch that. But at my house, it was like, watch whatever. But my best friend, one of her earliest memories of me, I think we were in like 2nd grade. I told her that there was vampires and werewolves coming that night and we needed to meet up and fight them. And she lived in her house, her bedroom was on the 2nd floor. my bedroom as a kid was on the bottom floor and actually had a door to go outside. She asked me, like, well, how are we supposed to meet at night? I was like, you can just jump out your window. I have a door. It's okay. Well, when you're like a kid, you don't think of stuff like that, you know? But that's one of her fondest, earliest childhood memories of me, that we had to go out and fight monsters.
Like,
jump out your window.
Just jump out your window.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Right. Yeah. She likes to tease me about that. So,
well, kids don't think that there's any difficulty in that.
Right. I mean, we jump off
see it on TV all the time.
Yeah. Right. So, but yeah, but hey, she's still my best friend to this day. So
nice. I don't think I still hang out with anyone I knew from second grade. Wow.
Well, we've actually been friends since we were 5. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
Yeah.
I moved around too much for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Military brat.
All right.
No, well, long topic.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's another show.
Yeah. So did you know that you were supposed to be scared by this stuff at all, or was it just entertainment to you?
It was just entertainment. Okay. Like other people obviously always talked about being scared of movies. I was like, but how? Like, it's just so much fun. Like, I get pure enjoyment out of watching like people's eyeballs get gouged out or like dicks exploding, you know, like just like that stuff is awesome.
Oh, RoboCop.
It's just like, it takes you out of reality for a little bit. And like, I mean, for me, it's fun. For other people, it might be horrible.
I don't know, but then I've got a dick, so.
True. Yeah, that personal effect of it. But no, I think that's interesting that, because your parents allowed everything to be allowed, it's almost like the Paraguay drug version of child raising, like allow everything and see what happens. And it made it so that you didn't see it in any kind of bad light. And you're just like, yeah, this is cool. It's neat. I like it.
Yeah, you're right. That probably is. I would feel maybe if I was kept from that, I'd probably be more put off by it, but I wasn't. Yeah. I enjoyed it. So
it's healthier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it could go either way. You could have somebody who's repressed, and then once they get into it, they love it because it was, something they couldn't have. Mm-hmm. 6 1 half dozen of the other. Yeah. I'm guessing you participated in Halloween.
And Halloween, of course, every year. It's every day is Halloween.
Well, that's true too. Mm-hmm. Any favorite costumes when you were a kid?
The Crypt Keeper. I still have that mask from whenever I was like 8 years old, dude.
Did you do the laugh?
Oh man, I don't know if I can. Hold on.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Nice. Any least favorite costumes?
Oh, the Scream guy. Ghostface.
Yeah. Why was that your least favorite?
Oh, he's going back thinking about it. It's like, who wasn't Ghostface?
Yeah, well, it's kind of
cliche. True. So, why was Crypt Keeper your favorite?
Because I just love Tales from the Crypt, and that Crypt Keeper is like his aesthetic and everything is just amazing. Mm-hmm. Like his laugh, his personality, like he's just cool.
Was there ever a time when you were actually terrified of something as a child?
You know what? I get asked that a lot. No, like Big Bird, probably.
Big Bird is creepy.
I mean, I told you guys. But no, that was like really the only things I was scared of as a kid were like things that you probably shouldn't have been scared of.
I mean, yeah, we had a guest once that's they said I think American Tail or Los Pescaderos or some classic.
No, it was American Tail.
Was American Tail? Like Five Will Go West?
Yeah, yes. they found that terrifying just because.
Love that movie.
You said there was a scene where Five will get separated from his family and they're lost in the fog and they just missing each other. Oh. And I guess he had a fear of that, or maybe it triggered a fear of that in him.
Oh, so, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I mean, those kind of cartoons too, they're pretty like for kids. I mean, they put you through some psychological shit.
I, for one, am glad I watched Secret of NIMH at a very young age because it was awesome.
It was. I love that one. So segueing into, did you have any scary dreams when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did.
That you want to talk about? or don't?
No, like okay, let's going back to these like things that you could put these cassette tapes and they would talk to you. You guys recall these like toys like that.
Oh yeah,
So
Teddy Ruxpin, the Big Bird one.
I had a mother goose like that. Okay.
Ooh.
And she was terrifying. I had nightmares about that thing, like just coming on and talking to me out of nowhere. Those like kind of toys just creeped me out, you know?
Yeah.
But, when it came to movies, though, it just, no. I think I also know that that's not reality. I knew that at a young age.
Because it puts it in that window that you're watching, whereas the doll is like in the room with you.
Yeah, it's there right next to you, and it's, you know, causing nightmares.
So you had like recurring dreams of the Mother Goose doll?
Yeah, certain toys I had, when I was a kid, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, what kid doesn't, I think, right? You guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine was the giant wolf that chased me around in my grandparents' kitchen. I think that's because I watched American Werewolf in London at a young age.
Okay.
Could be.
Could be.
Any other real life fears when you were a kid?
Not necessarily. I was very accident prone and everything, so I kind of just, you know, I wasn't really I can't say I was really a fearful kid.
Okay. So I'm still thinking about the movies that you mentioned and the sci-fi stuff, and you were just saying that you were immediately attracted to it.
Mm-hmm. It has to be because, like, I'm gonna tell you, I just like the aesthetics of certain monsters, just like the special makeup effects, gore, like the details that go into that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just draws me in.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've mentioned this on a few episodes, Steve. I think it's really just the efficacy of the design of the creatures that almost flips the switch over to this is terrifying to this is cool. If it looks really cool, it makes it less scary.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right about stuff like that. You know, when you see things that you can't really see or aren't really clear would probably scare you more because you, like, what are you reacting to? Like, how do you handle something that you actually don't really know what it is?
Yeah, like that siren head shit. You know, what the fuck's up with that? It's a bunch of couple of bull horns on a Slender Man.
Well, I mean, you might be true. You might be right about that in general, but like we can't. Is part of this show. We can't assume that of any one guest because, yeah, it might be true in the general sense, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily true for a particular person.
Yeah.
So it still makes sense that, you know, we have to ask this kind of stuff and try to figure out what it is for the person we're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. Actually, it's pretty much everything for the
I think we just breathed through childhood.
Yeah.
This series is going great.
What about your teenage years? What are some of your favorite scary things from teenage years?
So during my teenage years is when I started actually getting into trying to do my own special effects and whatnot, makeup, working with like fake blood and whatnot. Because I was obsessed with zombies by this time. If we, we have our big zombie walk and stuff here every year. Well, not lately, obviously, but I really liked doing those. You could just kind of go all out and do your makeup and go for the zombie walks. Those are really fun. And then you get to meet other people that are in the same stuff. So I don't know. As teenage years, I think I really I just accepted horror as part of my life. It just was like a way of life.
I was not aware of this zombie walk. So this is a Pittsburgh thing?
I think now, I think it started as a Pittsburgh thing, but now it's, I even think Canada has a zombie walk.
Huh. Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, I don't
they're
know
everywhere
if
now.
So much as just like a citywide thing, but almost every convention that I've gone to has a zombie walk.
Okay. Yeah, ours is specifically, for George Romero and stuff. So.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Is he from Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Night of the Living Dead was filmed here. Dawn of the Dead was filmed here. Yeah. So.
Oh my God, is the mall still there?
The mall, it's standing. The mall is still there.
Doesn't look like it did back then.
No, it's they keep up with it. It's a pretty busy area over there, Monroeville. So yeah, they keep up with it over there. Unlike a lot of the malls around here, honestly.
That one's got tourist tourist reason for existing.
Yeah, they even actually moved the Living Dead Museum into Monroeville Mall. So
Nice.
Yeah.
As is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It is now one of the anchors.
Yeah. So that just opened up actually, I think, a couple weeks ago. So
how did you find out about this zombie walk when you were a kid or teenager?
So when I was
on the news or something?
So when I was a teenager, actually, I went to a creative and performing arts high school, and that was actually downtown Pittsburgh. Downtown we took public transportation. You go downtown, there's people handing out flyers, there's things on telephone poles back then, and you run into these people doing this stuff. So I just kind of, heard through the grapevine. This was before a lot of social media. So,
well, and it also makes sense.
Now it's so easy to find events.
Like you say, if you go to performing arts high school where you've got people going from, theater and makeup and stuff like that, somebody's going to know. Uh-huh. Let's kind of talk about that for a minute. So you mentioned that you were already getting into special effects, and how did that transition go from like middle school into high school? Did you consciously choose to go to this performing arts high school, or was it just like you just happened to be sent there?
Actually, I went to middle school for creative and performing arts as well. Yes, I did. It was a magnet program. In elementary school, I got a portfolio together, and you actually had to audition to get into the middle school. I did visual arts, so I did like different mediums you had to bring in for your portfolio. So I got into the middle school. I did well during middle school, so I was automatically advanced to the high school as well.
Okay.
I never even knew there was such a thing for middle school. Yeah,
ours was called Rogers Kappa, Rogers Creative and Performing Arts, and now it is actually in the same building as the high school. They moved it all downtown.
Cool. Keeping it all in the same location.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you actually even got started going into middle school. How did that happen? I mean,
I was just always, I always liked to do art. I always liked to draw from a little kid. I just like to draw, paint, sculpt. And the middle school actually came and did a presentation at my elementary school. And therefore then like to try to get kids to, apply, to let kids know that it was even an option. And I was just like, wow, I can go to school and like have half the day just be something that I love to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not? Right. And I got in. So
again, I am super jealous. I just went to Catholic school and now I can recite the Nicene Creed by heart.
I know of the Nicene Creed. That's about it. Although if you started it, I'd probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
No idea over here.
Zombie speech. We'll just leave it at that. Not the cool kind of zombie.
Right.
So, okay. Wow. So you got in very early. So they came to your school, did a presentation. You're like, I want that.
Yeah.
Went back to your parents and told them about it. And they said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. They knew how much I love doing art. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I could see whether it's horror related or not. I'm sure, if you had an art background and they wanted you to feel like you could pursue that, that's going to be a bonus, whether it's horror related or not. Was horror already cropping up in your artwork when you were a kid?
Oh, yes, it was.
That sounds like a story.
Makes me think that, yeah. It sounds like your parents were probably very supportive of your interest in horror, but did you maybe have some teachers that were like, so we need to talk about this? This person is dismembered in this drawing.
Yes. I had a couple times of run-ins, yes, with teachers. Mostly in high school, because actually in middle school, here's a cool thing. My ceramics teacher was Kyra Schoen, who was the little girl in the basement of Night of Living Dead, the original one who ate her dad's arm.
Way. Yeah.
She was my ceramics teacher. So, I had that backing me up. Like, she loved my stuff, right? But once I get into high school, I don't have that connection with anyone. So the stuff that I started making, I made in a sculpture class like this. he wanted us to make like a little model figurine of something that inspires us. So I made this little figurine of some guy in a hoodie with like a decapitated head in his hand. And like I did like this hot glue like dripping and made it look like blood dripping. It was like so cool, right? And he's just like, what is this? How is that inspiration? I was like, because I really love horror and I want to like try to make stuff like this. I was like, how cool would it be if I could make like toys or something like this? He was not having that. In painting class, it was supposed to be just like a character, right? I paint the jigsaw guy, all right, from Saw. Okay. And I get a D on it. And it was immaculate, but I get a D because she didn't understand like the connection I could have with something like that. So you get, these teachers like and they threw away my 6-foot zombie I made without even asking me.
I love the exasperation in your voice when you said that.
I'm like still pissed about this, okay? Because
I am pissed for you. You should sue them. That's liable. That's defamation of property, intellectual something.
Put in a dumpster. And yeah, like I had him set up in the hallway in school. I
love that Chris is like mixing and mashing legal terms.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
I'm coming for them now that I know. But I set him up in the hallway. I put all these details in him. He was made out of plaster, wood. He had clothes on. He had this big crazy head, big gnarly teeth.
Glad he had clothes on.
And I had him like, oh yeah, he did. He was a big old monster cock in the high school hallway. Wouldn't really work out, right?
Well, it wasn't art school.
Yeah, but they didn't like a zombie, let alone they left, So because it was scaring people in the hallway, I didn't come to school one day and they took it out and threw it away. Yeah, and it was staff. It wasn't kids or anything, so that kind of sucks.
How much assholes?
Like that's my work, Right? That's how much it was accepted right there in the trash.
At the very least, I should have given it back.
This is where this belongs.
Yeah, right? They should have. I would have taken it home and like
coat over its head or something.
My Halloween props that I've had before I moved in with my husband, I always had like life-size props and stuff, and they would just hang out around the house all year round. There's no reason to put them away. Plus, it's a pain in the ass to put them away. But yeah, they hung out all year round. I had like the zombies with the lights on them for Christmas, and like a zombie coming out of my fireplace and stuff. A little Santa hat on. Like you just, make it work.
Same. There's always skulls around my house. It's, like you said, when it's Christmas time, the skulls have a Santa hat on them.
Nice. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Didn't you recently build some sort of a thing for your typhus costume so it can stand in the corner?
Yeah, he's looking at me right now and takes up like a third of my office, and I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Bastard.
So you mentioned having at least one friend that knew you from an early age. But it didn't sound like she was into horror. She just kind of like accepted that you were.
Yeah, she did accept it. She still gets on me about, I can't watch your movies and this and that, but I make her watch them anyway. So. And she actually she's one of the stars in my new short. So that's what she gets. She made fun of it this whole time. Now she's a part of it. So.
Well, she sounds like a very good and supportive friend.
Did you have any other friends who were fans of horror in your teens then?
People liked horror, but they weren't as into it as I was. You can talk about mainstream movies with people, but when it comes to like B movies and things like that, like shit I really love to geek over, there's no one to really talk to about that stuff.
That's right. You did say you didn't find that until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, really, honestly. And like going to horror conventions, that opened stuff up too, but really finding a community, people that
now that you mentioned it, I mean, you did know about the zombie walk.
Yeah. And I was kind of shy too. Like I didn't really talk to a lot of people that I didn't know, but people would comment on my makeup and stuff and like slowly start to meet people that way. But, friends and acquaintances are different. So, I got really close friends and they all like different things and that's okay. But it's nice to be a part of a community where like you can talk about things like that with people.
So with the zombie walk, you didn't feel like it was part of a community, or there wasn't any communal aspect of it
did
at the time?
It came to that to me later on, you know, like of course people doing that stuff, there was a lot of groups that knew each other already and already had their own cliques. But
I'm also wondering if at your age your parents might have been partially, you know, protective and going, okay, you know, you can come participate, but we don't want you to, you know, limiting your, well, now that I say that, I'm thinking about, you know, how they were so completely hands off in other ways that doesn't make sense necessarily.
I'm not going to say they were hands off, like they were hands off with, the stuff I watched, but my parents were, you know, they had their things that they were strict about. Okay. So, you know, I had a curfew and all that, and they didn't fuck around with that. But, you know, when it came to horror stuff, they just kind of accepted that that's what I really love to do. And they were like, you know, if you want to go do zombie walks and stuff, that was fine, because they knew the people, like I had friends like I could talk into to go do stuff that with, like, or talk into doing stuff like that with me. So yeah, I was always with like the same people, you know.
Okay. So it was more of a, I've got my friends that are coming with me, and it just maybe never occurred to you to make friends with the other people.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you think about it, yeah, I'm still best friends with the person I was when I was 5 years old. I do have another best friend from high school, you know, that I still talk to, and who's also in my short. So I try to keep things pretty close, you know.
Understandable.
Keep good friends close. Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying you're right or wrong for it one way or the other. I'm just trying to understand how it happened. That's
just me. Yeah, that's just me. Yeah.
So I'm guessing you still participated in Halloween in your teenage years.
Oh yeah.
Favorite costume from that period of time?
So in my teenage years, I didn't really do costumes. I just did like makeup. So I did like a lot of zombie-fied makeup
other people's
and whatnot.
costumes.
Other people's costumes?
No, I was asking, is that what you're saying?
He was saying like,
oh no, I just did my own like makeup and stuff. I didn't actually I didn't go as like a character per se. Like I didn't go as something that already existed. I would just like maul my face or something and just do some makeup and go out all gross looking.
Got it.
Was there a particular zombie makeup of yours that was your favorite?
Not even zombie.
As a teenager, not that I can think of as a teenager. No, not a favorite. No.
Least favorite?
Maybe like a pirate. I was a pirate with like part of my mouth missing at one point, but it wasn't that good looking.
That's what I thought you were going to say. Is it's whatever didn't work out when you're trying to do the makeup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
You're always your own worst critic.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that was more like I used that time to more experiment with makeup and stuff. So I didn't go any specific costumes or anything like that.
What about as a fan? Like what stuff were you introduced to in your teens that you were a fan of in terms of horror?
That I became a fan of in my teens?
Yeah, like anything that could have been an influence in your interest in the horror culture.
What I'm getting at is, so you've already identified that you have an interest in the creation of it.
Okay. Yeah.
But the creation almost takes away the emotion from it because you're thinking about it too much. And so I was asking, like, in terms of what were you a fan of, because that might bring us back to where your emotional connection with it was.
Well, I can tell you, during my teen years is when I started getting more into like extreme horror.
Okay.
So I feel like extreme horror, like, you know, Serbian film and all that. I like that stuff. I think that stuff's great.
Did you see that in your teens?
I don't know if I was a teenager at the time. I'm trying to remember when it even came out. What year was that?
To the Google.
That's a Chris.
I think it was. I want to say it was
because
early 2000s.
Yeah, and so I probably was still a teenager.
Oh, wow. 2010.
Oh no. Okay, so that I would just turn 20 or so. Okay.
We'll bump that down the list a little bit.
Think about before that. Like, I think I'm trying to think back because so when I started getting into extreme horror, I didn't even realize that was like a genre kind of thing. You know, I just thought like the more fucked up a movie was, the more like I liked it, because the psychological aspect, like really, like these people go there, these people make this stuff, completely takes you to another world. Like you can see so some of this shit, I mean, it's stuff that can really happen around the world. It's more realistic. And that's the kind of thing that should get to you even more. Like I tell people when they ask me like what the most fucked up movie I've ever seen, like they don't really like mess me up or anything like that. But The Girl Next Door, because that was a real based on a real story, and all that shit that girl had to go through, and the amount of people that were involved, and it was okay. That kind of stuff really terrifies me because that's real.
Yeah.
You know, so, but of some of these movies I'll watch just to feel that emotion, like feel something. You should, if you want to watch a movie that's messed up, then you want to feel something from it. I get angry, you know, I get upset or whatever. I don't think a movie's good if I don't get any type of emotion from it, whether it be just pure entertainment and ha to, oh my God, like really, why would that happen? Like, but that's reality.
Yeah. So. It's kind of the point.
Yeah. So I think just to get emotion from movies, I really like, you know, the more extreme stuff like that. But if I want to have a good time and watch something funny, I'll turn to Black Sheep, you know, that horror movie. And I'm talking about the Killer Sheep, you know. It's like amazing. It's so good. I don't know. It's so underrated. But anyways, yeah.
It is. Has that crew made anything else?
What's that?
Has the crew who made Black Sheep made anything else?
You know what? I was wondering that like this week. I need to look that up because I would love to watch some more shit from them.
Even something in the same universe. Like what happened with that sheepdog at the end, you know?
Yeah. Dude, how about whenever they're going in the car over the cliff and the dog's like driving? Or no, then they jump out and the sheep's driving and he's like, over the cliff. Like, why do I think about that clip probably 5 times a week? I don't know.
Because it's hilarious.
It is hilarious. That's like the other clip from like Mac and Me where the kid's in a wheelchair and goes like over the edge.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that. But
I have, and I just saw a clip of that the other day, and it still makes me laugh. Just
dude, I watched it on repeat like 10 times in a row. Like it cracks me up so bad.
Dude, if you haven't seen it, it's just funny because it is a child going over a cliff in a wheelchair, but it's so obviously like a ragdoll dummy of a kid in a wheelchair, just like, of course.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Like they show him hit the water and everything. Like it's just so ridiculous. But you know, stuff like that makes me laugh. That's a light mood. There you go.
I can see that. There's a lot of people that get off on that kind of thing. I don't. Well,
not sexually.
So what else? Girl Next Door. You mentioned hit you. What else?
In that direction, I really like the necromantic films. Oh my god, I love those movies. For 1 and 2, I think they're great.
What was his name? Martin. I almost said Martin Sexton, but that's a
Trafford.
singer.
Yeah, no,
Trafford. Yes.
Oh yeah, Trafford. Yeah, his artwork is amazing.
Yeah. What else?
I like Aftermath. I like a lot of unearthed films.
Okay.
So if we dive into that, I love
the Guinea Pig series.
Oh my god. Okay. So the actually Guinea Pig series. If you're talking about the original or the new. Original
I was going to say the original, but we're into teen years now, and I actually looked up the original Flowers of Flesh and Blood, and that was apparently 85. I didn't know it was that old.
I didn't watch that until I was a teenager. I actually picked that up at a horror convention. It was bootleg, but whatever. I just wanted something, and this guy suggested that. So I watched that. And what's that?
Because you called the FBI because it was so real.
Oh yeah, I was tied up on cocaine the whole time too.
Tiger blood.
Yeah, right. Dude, I made a meme about that too.
No fucking way.
Yeah, I got Charlie Sheen like tied to a bed, like on the cover of Flowers and Flesh and Blood, and he's like got cocaine all over him and stuff.
Winning.
But anyways, but yeah, so like when I got that movie, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I dove deeper into the Guinea Pig films. Not even really knowing, again, that there was like this whole community for that. And then I really like Old Boy, the original Old Boy. That's a very good movie that thought was pretty good, psychological wise and just fucked up wise.
Old Boy's not so much graphic violence in like the physical. It is
such a mind fuck. It's a twist. Like, I love it so much. It's so good. I really liked. I found Inside at Walmart whenever I was younger. I was like,
did they know what they had?
Well, they did a lot of Dimension films there. They sold a lot of, I actually picked up a lot of cool films just because of the covers and Dimension Extreme.
And we're talking the original French Inside, not the stupid, shitty American remake, right?
Definitely, yeah. I never even watched the
reference,
remake.
Inside is a French film about a woman who is pregnant and terrorized by a woman who wants her baby and ultimately gets it with scissors.
I think I've heard about that one, yeah.
It's amazing. It's so good.
So good. Walmart.
Yeah, that's where I got it. I'm not lying. That's where I got it. And then I was like, wow, Dimension Extreme, this is a cool movie if there's movies like this. So I think even Black Sheep was a Dimension Extreme film. That's why I got it. And I was like, the cover, you got a killer sheep on it. Hell yeah, whatever. Yeah. And then after Inside, then, I started digging deeper, and then I got into Martyrs, French, they have some pretty good, extreme films.
They have great ones. Frontiers. It's another good French one.
Yeah. I don't know. I go all over the place with it.
Was there anything besides films that was influential to you in teenage years, like any literature or...
To be honest with you, I'm not really big into reading, and I wish I was. It's not like I can't read. I can read very well. It's just that I lose interest in it. My mind is all over the place all the time. I got to be doing something. So sitting down and reading, I can't do that. And I really wish I could. I can relate. Absolutely. Like Byro's books. I'm sure they're awesome. I would love to read them. Even at least the Dead Baby cookbook someday. But I can't sit down for more than 5 minutes and read words on pages. What is that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even in school, that would lose my intent. My attention just gets lost in front. I got ADHD. I don't know. But I just keeping my focus on stuff like that it doesn't work for me.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm more of a visual person. I'll admit it.
So going back to some of the, you mentioned this path that you took along some of these movies. Again, it's sometimes hard to separate what you loved about them in terms of being a creator from what you loved about them in terms of being a fan. What were some of the things that you loved about them in terms of being a fan?
I just liked how they made me feel. Whether it's disgusted or anything, if a movie can make me feel upset about something, then all right, put it on my list.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Would you say it's more like the?
I like being disgusted. I like that. Yeah. I like that.
Okay.
Not everything's happy and rainbows and everything in the world, and I'm not going to ignore. Yeah, I'm not going to ignore that stuff. So. If that makes any sense. Sorry if I don't know.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay,
to me anyway.
Okay. All right.
If it doesn't make sense to any of our listeners, well, you guys got problems.
If it doesn't make sense to any of them, I'm just used to it. So.
Let's see. Did anything ever happen to you did anything ever happen to you in your teenage years in real life that scared you?
Yeah, and I'd probably rather not talk about it.
Fair enough.
Okay, we can skip that one.
Sorry.
Any nightmares or reoccurring nightmares as a teenager?
No, not per se. And I'm honestly, unless it was reoccurring, I wouldn't remember it. So, no, not really.
Let's see. Have you picked up any, what's the word I'm looking for? Phobias or behaviors?
Changes in behavior?
From some of the stuff that you experienced or watched?
I can't say I've picked up any phobias. I've always had a phobia of feet. They're nasty. Okay. How people are afraid of clowns and stuff like that. That stuff doesn't, I have never gotten a phobia from a movie. I can't say that.
You should stay away from Tarantino movies. He likes feet.
No, I know he does. It's disgusting. Yeah, I will punch a fucker if they put a foot on me.
Very tempted now.
No one get knocked out.
Break that toe.
You're gonna travel that far to get on.
Come get some. Let's see. Adult years then. You mentioned Serbian film. What else? What else in your adult years really touched you, shall we say?
Oh, well, we don't want to.
Well, I mean, in horror.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
That's a different podcast too.
So I really got into like Adam Green. Like, I love the Hatchet movies. Movies are amazing. It's just like they have everything I want in them.
Oh god! Like, especially, I'm sure being special effects makeup artists, just like some of that shit. Like it was Hatchet where he ripped that person's face open from upper teeth to lower teeth, right?
Yes. Oh my god! Just like love it so much. And when he ripped spine out, like, dude, I absolutely adore the Hatchet movies. I got really into those, and to other people it might be silly, but I do like. Even though I like my extreme stuff, I love my horror with some comedy too. And if it got great special effects and some cheesy lines in it, like, I'm all about it. So
there you go.
But the effects in Hatchet films are just over the top, like everything I could ever ask for.
Like, I hadn't really looked into them because they looked goofy at first, when I'd see like, posters or trailers, but then I sat down and watched Hatchet one day. I'm like, fuck, this is really good work.
It's so good. Like, oh God. And then Adam is just like such a cool guy. He's really just, he's got to be one of my favorite directors just because of the fact that he is so down to earth and so awesome. And he puts shit out like that. Like, he just has fun with it. And you can tell he enjoys what he's doing.
That sounds familiar. Is Adam Green the same guy who did the other Frozen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And he's a big War fan. Yeah.
R.I.P. Odorous.
Yes. Hail Odorous. R.I.P.
So this is now the time of your life where you're starting to meet some people and have some social connections into the horror community.
I'm going to say that actually music, I started going to a lot of shows and concerts, and that's how I started meeting more people. And I feel like, I was going to a lot of metal shows and stuff. So obviously a lot of people that are into horror like that. And I have to say it's more music that got me to meet people. Music got me to meet people than just being into horror, Yeah,
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, you did say the catchphrase earlier, Halloween is every day. Are you a Ministry fan?
I am not.
Oh, come on.
No, it's too much of that,
industrial?
Too industrial for me.
Yeah.
And plus now I'm getting into some different stuff. Like, I'm really sad that I just, this past year just got into Ween. Like, Ween is fucking badass.
Push the little daisies Ween?
Yes!
God, I haven't heard that since high school. Shit.
Oh my God. I love Ween so much now. Like, they're funny, and I mean, I don't know if you are GWAR fans or not, but I'm a huge GWAR fan, and finding out that a Ween song was on the Road Behind EP, it just like drives me insane. And the fact that Ween even opened for GWAR years ago is just like, where was I? I was too young for this shit. I wish I would have been there. But but music really got me to open up and meet a lot of people more so than horror did.
Interesting. Did you go to any horror conventions as an adult?
Yes,
and maybe that also you connect with them a lot?
Yeah. I think you said, and then
sorry, I think you said you were going to them even as a teen, right?
Teen, yeah. As a teenager, I started going to them. Here in Pittsburgh, we have our own convention called Horror Realm. It's rather small, but very awesome. Like, just, cut out all the bullshit kind of convention. Like, everything you want is like in this small space. It's great.
Nice.
They always had good guests. They always had good guests and everything there. So I really love that. It's a great convention. They discontinued it like 5 years ago or so, and then they just continued it last year. And then of course, COVID happened. So now they're putting it off till November when it's usually next month. But I'm looking forward to it coming back full swing.
Okay. I almost feel like I don't even need to go into the adult questions because
I am an adult. I'm just kidding.
I mean, part of the reason that we go through these 3 sections is to try to pinpoint what it is that you love about horror. And sometimes coming at them from these 3 different directions triggers memories that you had forgotten. But it seems like you started at such an early age that
it's just my life.
The answers are just the same.
It's just my
through
life.
all 3 phases.
Yeah, pretty much. Sorry, I'm boring.
Quite the opposite. No apology necessary.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not, exciting or boring. It's from a psychological point of view. There's just so much tied into those young moments that it feels impossible to pull them apart, because you've mentioned a bunch of different things in terms of comedy. You like to be excited. You liked the emotions. Mainly, like you said, you just want to feel something. But
I feel like I'm a person that doesn't really. I try to keep my emotions, to myself. Like I don't like to put things out there for people all the time. So when I watch these movies, it's just like, I can react and whatever. It just kind of brings me to a place where I can kind of focus on my mind and know what I'm feeling, rather than putting up a mask because I'm around other people, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I've thought about that before too. It's almost like I wish I wasn't this way, but I often wear my emotions on my sleeve, and just it sometimes occurs to me like maybe it would be better to be more shut in, and
it's not.
No,
it's not better. No.
Well, it's less complicated then, because you don't
can be.
say dumb shit around the wrong people. I'm like, God, I wish I didn't say that.
Oh no, I do. I say dumb shit all the time. That's my way of life. Constantly say dumb stuff, but I never looked bothered by it.
it's
well, yeah, maybe that's what I was getting at. It doesn't bother you as much, so it's less emotionally draining, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, because if you open up too much, then you're gonna beat yourself up about the times that you said something that you shouldn't have said, and the reverse is also true. If you bottle things up, then you're going to beat yourself up over the times that you didn't say something that you should have. So
that's me. I'll say, there's things that I'll say, but then it's mostly I'm a good bottler. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
So.
Well, is that, how can I say this? You mentioned that you enjoy horror because it allows you to be yourself. Do you feel, and this would make sense too, do you feel like your love of horror has made you have to be guarded in, the public eye because of people,
I wear my horror shirts everywhere proudly. Like you
as
look
an
at
adult,
me, you
probably
already
yes,
know.
but I mean, going back through life, was it always like that?
Well, I went to art school. We were all weirdos.
Well, that's true.
I didn't go to a regular, city school where I would have been probably shunned or whatever, or been like an outsider, or been with the little emo goth kids or something. You know what I mean? It was more accepted to be yourself in my schools growing up, because it was an art school. I mean, I could only imagine if I went to the school down the street in my neighborhood, they'd be like, okay, you're a fucking freak and nobody wants to be your friend.
So did the bottling up thing come from just, that's part of who you have always been?
The bottling up thing comes from a lot of stuff that I went through as a kid.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But horror allows you to
I'm taken away. I go somewhere else when I am in my horror zone.
A bit of an escape.
Yeah, it is.
So some of the questions that we typically wrap up with, we have 2 questions that are very similar. So I'll ask them both at the same time and explain the difference, and then let you answer them. So these next 2 questions, it's not just about horror, but any genre whatsoever. The questions are, what movie have you watched more times than any other? And what movie is your favorite movie? And we ask them as 2 separate questions because sometimes they're the same movies, but not always.
Okay. The movie that I've probably watched more times than any other movie probably is Hatchet, because when I'm bored, I'll just throw it on, like, because I already know that I'm going to enjoy it, whatever. And if, I'm doing something else, I'm not going to miss anything because I already know what happens. My favorite movie of all time, Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Like,
yes,
my favorite movie of all time. Like, it's funny. The gore is amazing. You got a fucking zombie baby. You got a zombie banging at the table. You got like all this just most ridiculous stuff. I'm actually is going to be starting on making a rat monkey model here, hopefully this week. But I absolutely love that. Like, Peter Jackson, what the fuck are you doing nowadays? Like, can you please go back to horror?
Go back to your roots, please.
Fuck that other shit. Lord of the Rings, go fuck yourself. I want Peter Jackson back in horror and bad taste. I want that stuff.
People getting chopped up with lawnmowers and shit.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I heard once that there were the production team or whatever for Lord of the Rings went to interview him before taking him on for the project, and they're like walking through the halls in his house, and he's got the posters for Bad Taste and Dead Alive on his walls, and they're like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
Well, you know what? I wish they would have thought it wasn't a good idea, so they wouldn't take Peter away.
Yeah. I mean, he could have at least put some gore in those movies. No, he couldn't. Then they wouldn't sell to all the demographics.
Fuck him.
Do you see any common threads about what kinds of horror you like? Cannibalism, occult, metaphysical, body horror?
Man, I do love me some cannibalism, actually. You'll get a load of that in my short. So
what is it you like about cannibalism?
I do love cannibalism. Eating people, obviously. Like, you can't just walk down the street and go like, hey, let me fucking eat your arm. But watch the Cannibal movie, man. People are just getting ripped apart. Limbs are being shredded. They're being eaten. Cannibal Holocaust is amazing. I know, it could be a little boring at times, but if you want a good cannibal movie, I love it. I like Cannibal Ferox. Oh, yeah.
Have you seen Raw in more recent cannibal films?
Yes, I have seen. I actually saw Raw at a special showing when it first came out. I watched it. Saw it here at a theater. Yeah.
Did you lose your lunch at the chicken fingers scene like everybody else? Like,
no, definitely not. First of all,
that shit was awesome.
It was. It's definitely awesome. And that film, being that it took place at veterinary school and it's a cannibal film, and I'm a veterinary technician. I love cannibals. Yeah. I was like, dude, I love that. I like this movie.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. That's the thing I hear most about it is like it made people leave the theaters sick, and it's because of this one scene.
They gave me a barf bag, and I was like, I would take a shit in this.
That was the second best scene of the whole movie. I think the finger scene.
Yeah.
To me, the best scene was when they reveal the sheets of the dead boyfriend. Like, that happened.
Yeah. And you know what though? I know how they like try to play it off, and towards the end, like with the parents and stuff, it kind of being a twist. I was like, I already kind of figured that. Like,
yeah, right.
So yeah. But yeah, it was enjoyable, but yeah, it definitely didn't make me sick. I even still have not only the barf bag from when I saw it, they had Band-Aids they handed out too, with it says Raw on it. Yeah. So I still have those.
That's awesome.
Any idea what it is you like about cannibalism?
I mean, I didn't just tell you.
The eating people.
I mean, psychologically.
Like, I even want to, like, I watch these documentaries about, like, real cannibalism and whatnot. And it's like,
like Isasawa.
Yeah, but they don't really give you any good. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're gonna go talk to this guy who probably ate somebody, and then he's like, yeah, he probably ate somebody. Man, fuck this. Like, let's see them eating people.
Where's the beef?
Yeah, where's the beef? But I think because it's just so, it's something that obviously is not in society a normal thing.
It's a taboo aspect of it. Plus, it's kind of similar with body horror, where it's very personally invasive.
Yeah, it is. And, you're, like I said, like, I mean, anybody around you, like, they could just eat you if they wanted to, but they're not.
True. Yeah, there's that aspect too. It's not like, aliens or vampires or even like your slasher serial killers. It's just anybody.
Yeah, like the movie Cannibal, for fuck's sake. Whenever he's like, yeah, hey, I want to be eaten. Come meet me. Let's cut his sticks and then I'll eat you.
Wasn't that based on a true story? Like,
yeah,
there's
that
a
is.
guy who.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy in Germany, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen Ravenous?
Ravenous. The remake. Wait, that's
No, not Rabbit. Ravenous. It's like a Frontier Times movie about.
I'm trying to think.
It was Guy Pearce and the Scottish guy from Train Spotting. I can remember his name. Robert Carlyle.
I don't think I have.
If you like cannibal movies, check out Ravenous. It is one of my favorites.
I'll write that down right now, actually. I think I've seen that streaming on like Tubi or something, so I'll check it out.
So one of the things about taboo things is that it's sort of like a violation of boundaries, of social boundaries. And that kind of ties in with what you were saying about liking horror movies that make you feel something, because again, it's you're violating some personal boundary of your own by allowing you to feel something that, you said you were bottling up.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe two of the common threads here are that and comedy, which also in its own way, comedy is also a violation of boundaries, because oftentimes the things that are funny are subverting your expectations in a way that, like, the more extreme the violation, the funnier it is. In terms of comedy.
Why is that?
So it seems like that might be a common thread. And so one of the last questions here is, why horror? Because could there be other genres where you're violating these social boundaries?
One of the worst movies ever is like A Dog's Purpose. That made me cry so much when you speak about violations. And that's not horror.
The dog gets reincarnated?
Yes, and he dies over and over and over. I'm just, me and my friend brought like a whole box of tissues to the theater just to watch that, and we went through all of them. And I will never watch it again.
I don't think I've heard of this one. What was it? What made you cry? Like just seeing the dog dying over and over and over again?
Yes.
Yeah, Steve, my friend Mark was telling me about just the other night. It's apparently about, I think it's a boy and his dog, and the boy dies, and then the boy gets reincarnated as a dog, and it just goes through several iterations of this.
Yeah, they show like a personal, like their relationships, like a person and this dog, and then this like they get so close, or you get to feel for them, like, oh, they're happy they met each other, and then they have to go through the loss of their dog, and then you got to go through the loss of this dog too, right? And then it comes back to go to another family. Oh, yay, we're happy again. We're back with the family. Hey, let's kill you off again, and let's go move on to like another happy. Like, it's just a roller coaster of emotions. But if you want to talk about something that'll get to you, jeez.
This is the reason why the website doesthedogdie.com was invented.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. You have to go, I'll deal with it because, I have to, and I deal with it every day in real life, but it's like, it's just so sad.
Actually, that's kind of interesting. That I didn't even think about that. Your career, your profession in those terms.
Wow. Yeah.
Also very emotional, both positive and negative, depending on the outcome.
Yeah.
And plus with my job too is like I get to assist in surgeries and stuff, so I know what anatomy looks like.
Yeah, there you go.
Get to take out big nasty tumors and whatnot. Oh, we love playing with stuff like that.
I have other friends that do special effects makeup, and they have to scour the internet for these photos. You just get to see it.
Right.
Yeah, I get to see it, touch it, feel it, stab it, throw it on the window. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
So actually, there's a question we missed. How did you go from art school to veterinary school?
So actually always loved animals. And when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian. But then as I got older, I realized how much I fucking hate school. And I honestly, I was like, I don't know if I could do like that long in college to be a veterinarian.
Yeah, it's an MD. You have to do like 4 or maybe even 6 years, I think.
8 years.
8 years. Wow.
So, wanting to do something like at the same time having my art background. Yeah, I wanted to do something in art, but I couldn't find my place, where I guess would want to build off from. So what would I want to focus on as an artist? And am I going to make any money doing this? You know,
I was going to say, that's the other thing. You can't really make any money. Art is always the avocation, not the vocation.
Right. So I wanted something that at least I'd have that I would enjoy. Yeah, and I would enjoy, because I know I like a lot of sick shit and whatnot, but I love animals, and I will always treat them like my own and stuff. And I feel good about my job every day. I feel good about the stuff I do, and making people happy because I took care of their pet.
And it didn't take 8 years of college.
Right. It only took me 16 months. Nice. And I've been doing it for 12 years now. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. And working on movies, is great. And if I get more into that, that'd be wonderful. But I am perfectly fine with that being something that's just on the side, and for me to have fun and practice and learn more, and just it's like I don't want to say it's a hobby, because it's more than a hobby to me, but I'm not going to tell somebody I need money to go out and just have fun with them on set for a day and make blood splatter. I love doing it. It's enjoyable.
Right on. So when we ask you, like I say, there's these other avenues that you can get these kinds of things. So why horror? It's interesting. Mm-hmm. Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's interesting that typically when I ask that, or we ask that question, we're asking it in terms of other movie genres, but it sounds like we said, you kind of have some of that in your non-horror job career, not like, I don't want to say horror, because I gotta say this. I mean, obviously you have fun at your job, joking around.
Yeah, but there's a lot of emotional aspects to it.
Right.
Yeah.
When people have to put their pets down, or if we lose, I have patients that I see on a weekly basis. I have some I see on a monthly basis for certain things. When you lose them, it hurts you. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of emotional aspects that go into my job. And that's another place where you have to wear a mask, and, I'm not meaning COVID mask. Right. Of course we wear those, but I mean a mask you can't break down mask in a room whenever somebody else is putting their pet to sleep. You got to be strong for them. So there's a lot with that too. You got to hide behind that. You could be comforting, but you can't be some crying mess with them. You got to keep your composure. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just
think so.
Okay.
I guess I'm just struck that, because when we ask that question, we're trying to see if there is, normally the way it goes is they'll say, for example, sci-fi can have a lot of the same details, but then they'll say, but we go to horror because we get this other thing that we don't get in sci-fi. And in your case, it almost sounds like you're doubling down by your vet tech. You're like, oh yeah, I got that, and I'm doing, doubling down in the vet tech part of it. It's oh.
You just genuinely have an interest in all things gory and gutsy and emotional.
It's true, I do. Yeah.
And the emotion. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It sounds like it's the same kind of thing with both aspects. Yeah, you have, I guess, just those extreme emotions that, I don't know, maybe it's also tangent with some other guests that we've talked to. This topic has come up a lot. If you get an interest in horror early, you get desensitized to it early. Definitely. So after a while, the only thing that causes that emotional reaction is the extreme. And you can't only find that in horror, but you find it more often in horror than things like action and sci-fi.
Exactly. Definitely.
Well, there's also the comedy aspect of it too, the humor. Let me ask a slightly different question. Do you enjoy horrific comedy more than non-horrific comedy?
Of course.
What a stupid question.
Oh my. No, but yeah, I definitely do. Yeah.
But the reason I ask is because for all I know, you could have said, no, it's about equal.
Yeah. And I mean, I have a dark sense of humor too. So things that I find funny, a lot of, other people may not. But people find I don't know what shows people watch nowadays, but these sitcoms and shit funny. I don't find stuff like that funny.
Well, you're not a fan of The Big Bang Theory?
No, I'm not a fan of shows. Honestly, I don't watch a lot of TV. I just kind of watch movies and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, that was
when
sarcasm.
people, no, I gotcha. But when people ask me about stuff like that, and I can't connect with you on that. And then I feel bad because I don't want to feel like I'm shutting somebody down. But at the same time, you're shutting me down. So
Right?
No, I'm the same way. I don't
That's my
watch
opinion.
TV or movies. So like half the time people are talking about, The Office or whatever. And I'm like, whatever.
yeah, you don't know what. Yeah. And they'll tell me like a joke from it. I'm like, oh, I'm glad you find that funny. I want to go over here and watch like a baby get dismembered on this or whatever.
So I would say if we were to summarize what it is that you like about horror, I really think the common thread is the violation of a boundary, whether it's emotionally, triggering you to be happy or sad or comedy, or it's that the initial violation of the bang of, oh, yes.
Yeah, I could go with that for sure.
Well, thank you very much for being our guest. Do you want to pitch anything before we close the call?
Just want to make sure people look out for FUKT by Jesse States. It's the first all-female extreme horror anthology. I got some pretty badass effects in mine. I'm sure the other ladies do too. Definitely check it out. Get fucked.
Well, thanks for being our guest. And thanks you to anybody out there listening. Please do come visit us at horrormakesushappy.com. We've got a list of people there that we'd like to interview. If you can help us connect with any of them, or if you know anyone you'd like to have added to the list, let us know. You can find links to our merch, Patreon, social media, all that fun stuff on the website. In general, just
we got some badass t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now.
Damn it. You just called me out.
We got a t-shirt?
We've got a couple different designs.
Oh, I'm going to have to get one.
Cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Just let us know how we're doing. HorrorMakesUsHappy.com.